Gourmet to the stars. Scene 11. I talk things over with a port clerk assistant. Characters: Lory Gato, Mr. Dring. That's on the wrong page here. Mr. Gato. We were still on English. I replied in kind. Yes, that's me. Are you who I spoke to on the comm? No, the clerk-in-chief has left for the day, but I've done all the running around on this. I'm his aide, Mr. Dring. The small office was empty, but for us too. Clerk-in-chief? I guess he meant Port Clerk, Human Affairs. And I was in his office talking to Mr. Dring. Sir Dring, in Pan. The sidekick. I idly wondered what it was like to be Port Clerk Assistant, Human Affairs. See one spaceport flunky and you've seen them all. I'd been around and wasn't feeling generous, having just been pulled from an engagement. He was mucking about with my job. Mr. Dring spoke. This package is holding me up. I like to keep a straight edge. You know how easily work piles up, so you can probably guess how glad I am you're here. Well, I really sympathise. This was an out-of-the-way planet. Human Affairs, an outpost and a couple of clubs in the main settlement. Did he really have a lot on? I waited for my message, but other things preyed on his mind. You know how it is with the Tanegi. Restrictions and paperwork. There are easier ways to do this. I took in his desk and his in-tray again. Not a lot on it. And the Penong, he added for good measure. Words posing as work. At some point he would get my message for me, but when? I allowed my eyes to rest on what was there. Years of practice in claiming expenses weren't all to waste. I read upside down pretty well. As he reeled out his grievances, other words seeped into my brain. Options for Outpost 1. And then partly hidden in a smaller typeface, a bright new future. Outposts are supposed to be science and research. That looked more like a brochure. I brought my attention back to Mr. Dring, administration flunky. I have to go through Penong systems, fill in their forms. It's a ball ache. Slowly and methodically he opened a drawer. You've been on other worlds. You've trod the starways. Tell me it's better than this out there. He let go of the drawer and opened his arms to the void above. It's better because they don't rumble on. They do the work. The bigger places are, well, just big. Almost industrial. Smaller places can be a bit more homely, you know. You had to lead the ball acres to a better land quite gently. They'd happily stay on bitter twisted shores, a thing I've no patience for. They don't know how to get off, or maybe get perverse kicks from it. Done right, they arrive at normal civilised manners without knowing it. It's a conversation thing. Mr. Dring didn't answer. He played the silence. Well, come on, say something positive. He weighed his words carefully. It's not quite like that here. We're pretty much second fiddle. I groaned mentally. Say that and achieve what? Negative thinking goes with whinging. It occurred to me that he was probably speaking English from a misplaced connection with home. The thing was, this was a Tanegi world. Tanegi 36. That kind of set the scene. Well, this is Tanegi 36. This obviously hit the magic button. Precisely. A colony world. What was that supposed to mean? A colony world? I prompted. Encourage him. It might produce my message a bit quicker. You've walked the starways. I cringed at the mangled expression. He settled back in his wheel-rollered chair. His open desk drawer was now unattended and beyond his reach. I bet you lot out there get more help in settling other worlds than we get here. I listened, baffled. This could be a colony world, but only for the Tanegi. Surely he knew the rules. He must do. I wasn't going to challenge him, but I had to say something. "Oh, we do okay." He grimaced. "Yeah, you do. But what about from here? You know how long it took me to track you down?" His voice grew more strident. "No." "Ages. It would have been a whole lot easier if they'd let us put up a satellite. You know what? They won't even let us do that." "Why would I know that?" "Oh." This was obviously a trigger for him. "This is a colonist's world, but how are we supposed to grow if they don't help?" Colonist? What was he saying? Colonies weren't my speciality, but I knew the general rule. We didn't qualify. Full stop. He must know that. Colony here, as in settle and expand, didn't sound right. Well, I suppose. I looked hopefully at his desk. Where was my message? His eyes took on a fervid heat. Hard lines etched his face and forehead. "Is it fair that we struggle here? A simple satellite, that's all we want." I wondered what was going on here. Sometimes it was better not to know. I wanted a way. Apart from activity in Earth's solar system, the only colony world we had was Merthyr. Surely he knew that. Work for the spaceport and know the ropes. Part business, part politics. I was just a glorified gourmet, not some Earth block politician. Were they out of touch? Perhaps this was part of a nutty Earther conspiracy. If so, I wanted no part of it. Get my message and get out. I readied myself as he paused for breath. I was going to say, "I don't want to keep you stuck here on account of my message," but he was back into his stride. "They're up to something. Terraforming, but they're taking forever. Like, slow. Real slow." Terraforming? Planetary seeding was a big fat no-no. Calling it terraforming was a weasel word away from big trouble. Play dumb. "You know, making the planet suitable for habitation, that sort of thing." How do you know that? "We watch. We know." Oh. How did they know what to look for? He eased forward and reached into the half-open drawer. "There you go." I took the message and got out. It was encrypted to me. In all fairness, I ought to open it up, but I could wait until I got back. I retraced my steps through the small mall. The few port shops were closing for the day. I weighed things up. An early reassignment by seed meant I lost out on expenses. I really ought to delay opening it until tomorrow morning. All I needed was an excuse to get in touch with Gilasia. I cursed myself then. When I left her, I'd failed to make a future engagement. What was protocol? I probably need to go back to the boarding house and work it out. The walkways about me were empty. I patted my jacket pocket, where I kept the decryption key for personal messages. It was gone. I patted the pocket again. Where was my key? I needed it, not just for messages. A small shock of panic galvanized me. The key, the key. Had I not brought it? Was it back in my room? I stopped walking and searched furiously through my pockets. Where was it? Stop that there.